The Force is light and full of shadows.
Tatooine's twin suns hang low on the horizon, casting long shadows across the dune sea. The temperature is dropping fast. Desert night approaches with the brutal efficiency of a world that offers no mercy to the unprepared. A single headlight cuts through the gathering darkness, moving at a speed that pushes the limits of what the ancient swoop bike beneath it was designed to handle. Anakin Skywalker is 19 years old. He grips the handlebars of Owen Lars's Zephyr G Swoop, a Mobcat swoops and speeders model that's seen 2 decades of hard use as a moisture farm utility vehicle. The engine screams at 350 kilometers per hour, the altitude limiter keeping him locked at 6 meters above the sand. He is alone. Completely alone. Padme stayed at the Lars homestead. No one accompanies him. The wind tears at his Jedi robes with enough force to make his eyes water. His mother has been missing for a month. The dream he had on Naboo, her voice crying out, calling his name in pain, has driven him across the galaxy to this moment. Cliegg Lars told him to accept her death. 26 armed moisture farmers tried to rescue her from the Tusken Raiders, and only 4 came back. Cliegg lost his leg. The Tuskens are too dangerous, too brutal, too numerous. Anakin doesn't care. His mother is out there. He will find her. He will save her. The swoop bike hits a thermal updraft and bucks sideways. Anakin corrects automatically, his connection to the Force giving him reflexes that turn piloting into something closer to precognition. The bike levels. The engine steadies, he opens the throttle further, pushing the Zephyr G past every safety parameter Owen mentioned. And then reality fractures. It doesn't happen gradually. There is no warning, no sense of building pressure. One moment, Anakin Skywalker is riding alone across the desert, focused entirely on reaching his mother. The next moment, 20 years of Darth Vader's existence slams into his consciousness like a thermal detonator detonating inside his skull. The upload is not metaphorical. It is visceral, physical, brutal. He sees Palpatine's face, not the kindly Chancellor, but the Sith Lord beneath, yellow eyes blazing with malice. He hears the voice, warm and grandfatherly, whispering promises of power and salvation. He feels himself saying yes, feels himself kneeling, feels the name settle over him like a shroud, Darth Vader. The Jedi Temple, nighttime, the corridor to the council chambers, and children, younglings no older than 8 or 9, their training sabers clutched in small hands, looking up at him with confusion and hope. Master Skywalker, what are we going to do? The blue blade ignites, they scream. He kills them. All of them, every single child, their blood on his hands, their terror in the Force, their small bodies falling Mustafar. Lava rivers painting the world in orange and red. Obi-Wan standing across from him, lightsaber raised, face twisted with anguish. You were my brother Anakin. I loved you. The duel. The rage. The fall. Obi-Wan standing over him as the lava consumes his legs, his left arm, the right already severed. The heat. The screaming. His own voice, raw and inhuman, begging for help. The mask, surgical droids lowering the helmet onto the ruin of his face. The first breath through the respirator, mechanical and endless. The pain of the suit's neural interface driving into his spine. The realization that he can never remove it, that he will breathe this way, hisku, for the rest of his life. The rage, the self-hatred, the knowledge that he did this to himself. Padme, her face on Mustafar, pregnant, terrified, his hand extending, the Force closing around her throat, her gasping, her falling, her dying. You turned her against me, but she hadn't. She never did. And he killed her anyway. Killed her and their child, no children, twins, and spent 20 years believing they died because of him. Luke, a farm boy with his eyes and Padme's goodness, standing on the second Death Star, refusing to fight, refusing to fall, throwing away his lightsaber and saying the words that break Vader's heart and remake it simultaneously. I am a Jedi like my father before me. The Emperor's lightning. Luke screaming. Vader watching. And then, finally, after 2 decades of slavery and self-loathing, choosing. Lifting Palpatine. Throwing him into the reactor shaft. The lightning tearing through the suit's systems. Dying in his son's arms, redeemed, but too late. Always too late. The swoop bike lurches violently. Anakin's body convulses. His hands spasm on the controls. The Zephyr G drops 3 meters, the repulsor lift generator screaming in protest, before he catches it at the last second and pulls up. His vision swims. His heart hammers against his ribs. He tastes something in his mouth that shouldn't be there. Ash, smoke, the phantom memory of burning flesh. He gasps for air and realizes he can breathe, not through a respirator, not through a mask. He is breathing freely, deeply, with lungs that work and a chest that rises and falls without mechanical assistance. The absence of the suit is so profound it feels like nakedness. He looks down at his right hand, gripping the handlebar, and sees flesh. Whole, unscarred flesh. 5 fingers, all of them his, all of them organic. He flexes them, they move, they feel. The memories settle into place with the weight of 2 decades. He is 19 years old. He has all 4 limbs. His midichlorian count is undiminished by the injuries that in another life reduced him to a fraction of his potential. And his mother is alive. Right now. Less than an hour away, in a Tusken camp between the desert mountains, tied to a frame, tortured for a month, dying, but not dead yet. The realization detonates through him with a force that makes the memory upload feel gentle by comparison. In the timeline he just experienced, he arrived too late. He held her for 3 minutes while she told him she loved him, that she was proud, that seeing him made her complete, and then she died in his arms. And he walked back into that camp and slaughtered every living thing inside it, men, women, children, in a blind, grief-fueled rage that was the first true step toward becoming Vader. Not this time. The thought is absolute, incandescent, final, not this time. He opens the throttle past its safety limits. The Zephyr G's engine pitch climbs into a shriek. The altitude limiter flashes a warning on the primitive display panel. He's pushing the repulsor lift past sustainable output. He doesn't care. He reaches into the Force and pours power into the bike's aging engine, reinforcing components that are beginning to vibrate themselves apart, feeding energy directly into the repulsor lift coils. The swoop accelerates. 350 km/h becomes 400, then 450. The bike was never designed to move this fast. Physics protests. The Force doesn't care about physics when the Chosen One decides otherwise. The Tusken camp appears on the horizon, lit by firelight between 2 rocky outcroppings. In the original timeline, Anakin stopped at a Jawa encampment at twilight to ask for intelligence on the Tusken's location. That detour cost him 30 minutes. 30 minutes his mother didn't have. Vader knows exactly where the camp is. He tracked prey across the galaxy for 2 decades. Jedi survivors, rebel cells, threats to the Empire. He knows how to read terrain through the Force. How to sense concentrations of life, how to follow the dark resonance of suffering to its source. He doesn't need Jawas to tell him where his mother is. He can feel her. She is in pain, fading, but alive. He is 5 minutes out. The wind screams past him. The bike's frame shudders. The twin suns touch the horizon and sink below it, plunging the desert into the rapid darkness of a world with no atmospheric moisture to slow the transition. Vader's eyes, looking out from Anakin's 19-year-old face, flash gold in the swoop's headlight reflection, then blue, then gold again. Inside him, 2 identities collide. Anakin Skywalker, young, impulsive, driven by fear of loss and desperate love. Darth Vader, older, controlled, carrying 20 years of tactical mastery, and the cold certainty of a man who has seen every possible consequence of failure. The war between them will define everything that comes next, but right now, in this moment, they agree on one thing completely. His mother will not die tonight. The Tusken camp grows larger. Sentries stand at the perimeter, visible as silhouettes against the firelight. They haven't seen him yet. He is moving too fast. The swoop's headlight just another star in the darkening sky until it's too late. Vader does not slow down. The sky. The first sentry dies without understanding what killed him. He is a Tusken Raider warrior standing watch at the camp's northern perimeter, with a Gatarifi stick, a metal polearm roughly 120 centimeters long, blade on one end, bludgeon on the other. He sees the headlight approaching at impossible speed and raises his Tusken cycler rifle. The weapon is a slug thrower, bolt action, accurate at 500 meters. He begins to squeeze the trigger. The rifle crumples in his hands like foil. The metal folds inward with a sound like thunder compressed into a microsecond. Before the Tusken can process what happened, his ribcage follows the same path. The Force closes around his chest cavity and squeezes. Bone shatters. Organs rupture. He drops without making a sound. The sentry 20 meters to his left sees his companion fall. He opens his mouth to sound the alarm, a ululating cry that would wake the entire camp. His throat closes. Not metaphorically, the Force constricts his windpipe with the precision of a surgical instrument. He claws at his neck. His fingers find nothing to grip. The air in his lungs can't escape. He collapses, suffocating silently. Vader brings the swoop to a stop at the camp's edge. He dismounts. The bike's engine ticks as it cools. The headlight casts his shadow across the sand. Tall, broad-shouldered, unmistakably human. He stands there for 3 seconds, extending his awareness through the Force. The camp sprawls before him. Over 24 huts arranged in a rough circle, canvas and leather stretched over wooden frames, lit from within by oil lamps and from without by cooking fires. He counts life signs: 27, 15 warriors, 8 females, 4 children. His mother in the largest hut at the camp center, her Force presence barely a flicker. He has approximately 45 minutes before she crosses the threshold from dying to dead. The timeline he experienced showed him dying in his son's arms on the second Death Star, which means he knows, with the precision of lived memory, how long a human body can function past the point of medical viability. His mother has held on for a month through sheer will. That will is burning out. He needs to reach her, stabilize her with the Force, and extract her within the hour, which means every Tusken warrior between him and that hut needs to die now. Vader walks into the camp. He does not run, he does not charge, he walks. The measured, inevitable pace of a man who has already won and is simply executing a checklist. His right hand hangs at his side, fingers relaxed. His lightsaber remains clipped to his belt. He doesn't need it yet. The first hut he passes contains 3 Tuskens, 2 warriors, and a female. They are eating, passing bowls of hubagord around a small fire. They look up as his shadow falls across their entrance. They stop moving, all 3, simultaneously. The Force closes around them like a fist. Not around their throats or their chests, around their entire bodies. Telekinetic pressure from every direction at once. Bones don't break, they compress, organs don't rupture, they collapse inward. It is over in 2 seconds. The bodies settle to the ground with the soft sound of meat wrapped in cloth. Vader continues walking. Second hut, 2 warriors, standing alert. They've heard something, the absence of sound from the first hut perhaps, or the unnatural quiet settling over the camp. They grab their Gaddafi sticks and move toward the entrance. Their weapons fly from their hands before they take the second step. The metal pole arms spin through the air and embed themselves in the sand 30 meters away, buried to the hilts. The warriors freeze, staring at their empty hands. Then they are thrown, not gently, not with the careful control of a Jedi using the Force to disable opponents. They are hurled with the kinetic energy of speeder bikes at full throttle. Their bodies impact the canyon wall behind the camp. The stone cracks. The bodies don't get up. Third hut, a warrior charging out, cycler rifle raised. He fires. The slug thrower round crosses 15 meters in a fraction of a second, aimed at Vader's center mass. The slug stops, hangs in the air, spins slowly, then reverses course at triple its original velocity and punches through the warrior's skull between his eye wrappings. He falls backward. The rifle clatters to the sand. Vader is 20 meters from the central hut now. The camp is waking up. Shouts in the Tusken language, the sound of weapons being grabbed, feet running. Warriors pour from the huts, 15 strong, Gaddafi sticks and cycler rifles ready. They form a defensive line between Vader and the largest tent. They die in sequence. First warrior, his legs stop working. The neural impulses from his brain simply don't reach his lower body. He falls face first into the sand. Second warrior, heart stops. Clean instant, no pain. He drops. Third warrior attempts to fire his cycler rifle. The weapon detonates in his hands, the internal firing mechanism crushed by invisible force. Shrapnel tears through his chest. Warriors 4 through 7 charge simultaneously. Vader extends his left hand. A force wave ripples outward from his palm like a shockwave. The 4 Tuskens are lifted off their feet, thrown 20 meters backward, and slammed into the ground hard enough to crack ribs and rupture internal organs. The remaining 8 warriors hesitate. They are brave. This clan killed 26 armed moisture farmers in Cliegg Lars's rescue attempt. But bravery has limits. What they are facing is not a man. It is something else, something that moves through their camp like a scythe through grain, methodical and unstoppable. One of them runs, turns and sprints toward the canyon pass, toward escape. He makes it 5 steps. His body lifts into the air. Not gently. He is ragdolled, spun, twisted, slammed against rocks and sand like a child's toy in the hands of something vastly stronger. When Vader finally releases him, the body doesn't move. The remaining 7 stand their ground. They raise their weapons, they charge. Vader's lightsaber ignites. The blue blade casts harsh shadows across the camp. This is the first time he's drawn it since entering. He doesn't swing it in wide, flashy arcs. He moves through the 7 warriors with the mechanical efficiency of a man who spent 2 decades killing Jedi beings, far more dangerous than Tuskens with sticks. Precision cuts, throat, heart, spine. Each warrior falls in less than a second. The lightsaber deactivates. Silence settles over the camp like ash. And then Vader hears it. A small sound from one of the huts to his left. A whimper, not an adult sound. A child. He turns. His hand rises reflexively, the force gathering around it, ready to crush whatever life remains. Then he sees a Tusken child, perhaps 7 years old, pressed against the back wall of a tent, eye coverings wet with tears, small hands clutching a toy, something carved from bantha bone. The child is staring at him with the universal expression of a young being who has just watched their entire world end and doesn't understand why. Vader freezes. For a fraction of a second, the child's face overlays with another face. A different child. Human. Jedi robes. Training saber clutched in small hands. Master Skywalker. What are we going to do? The memory burns through him like acid. His hand shakes. The force pressure around the child intensifies for half a heartbeat, enough to make the small figure gasp, then releases completely. Vader lowers his hand. He turns away. He does not kill the child. He does not kill any of the non-combatants. The females in the huts, the other children. He leaves them alive. This is not mercy. He is not capable of mercy. Not after what he remembers doing, not after the temple, not after Padme, but something in this younger body's neural pathways remembers compassion. The 19-year-old brain he's inhabiting still has connections that Vader's decades-scarred mind burned away. The war between who he was and who he became is already beginning. He crosses the camp in 6 strides. The largest hut looms before him. 2 warriors stand guard at its entrance. Gatterefi sticks crossed in an X pattern. They are the largest Tuskens in the camp. Elite guards positioned here for a reason. They die before they see him move. Force crush, simultaneous both skulls. They drop. Vader slashes the tent entrance with his lightsaber. One horizontal cut, the canvas splitting like paper. The blue blade deactivates. He steps inside. The interior is lit by a single oil lamp hanging from the center pole. The smell hits him first. Blood, infection, human waste, the specific odor of a body pushed past its limits for too long. Then he sees her. Shmi Skywalker Lars is bound to a wooden frame, her arms stretched above her head, wrists tied with leather straps. Her body is emaciated. 30 days of minimal food and water have reduced her to skin and bone. Her face is barely recognizable beneath the bruises. Her breathing is shallow, irregular. Her eyes are closed. Vader crosses the distance in 2 steps and drops to his knees beside her. His hands, 19 years old, flesh, whole, reach for the bindings. They shake. Not from weakness, from the magnitude of what he is seeing. She is alive. In the timeline he experienced, he arrived here and she died 3 minutes later. He held her while she told him she loved him, that she was proud that seeing him made her complete. And then her eyes closed and she was gone, and he screamed and the darkness took him completely. This time she is still breathing. His fingers work the knots. The leather is old, dried by the desert heat. It comes apart easily. Her arms drop. He catches her weight before she collapses, cradling her against his chest. She weighs nothing. A woman who was never large to begin with, reduced by torture to something fragile. Mom, he says. His voice cracks on the word. It sounds wrong, too young, too human. For 20 years his voice was a mechanical rasp, filtered through a vocabulator, deep and inhuman and absolutely controlled. Darth Vader did not sound like a boy, but Anakin Skywalker does. Her eyes flutter open. They are brown. The same brown he sees in the mirror. In another timeline, in another life, his son will have these eyes. Annie? The word is barely a whisper. Her throat is raw from screaming. Is it you? It's me, Mom, I'm here. He shifts her weight, settling her more securely in his arms. I'm here and I'm not leaving you, not ever again. He extends his awareness through the Force and examines her body with the precision of a medical scanner. What he finds is catastrophic. Internal bleeding in 3 places. 2 cracked ribs, severe dehydration, her kidneys are on the edge of failure, infection in the wounds on her back and arms, malnutrition so severe her body has begun consuming its own muscle tissue. She is dying, not imminently, she has perhaps an hour, maybe 2 if she's strong, but without intervention the damage is irreversible. Vader has intervention. He places his left hand flat against her chest, over her heart. He closes his eyes, and he reaches for a technique that in his own timeline he only learned after Mustafar, after the suit, after he had nothing left to lose. Force Sustain, a dark side ability, the manipulation of midi-chlorians to artificially preserve life in a body that should, by all biological logic, be shutting down. Darth Plagueis used it to keep the ones he cared about from dying. Vader learned it from Sith holocrons in the Emperor's archive. It cannot heal, it cannot reverse 30 days of torture, but it can stabilize, it can reinforce failing organs. It can slow a dying heart and flood damaged tissue with enough sustaining energy to buy hours instead of minutes. The Force flows through him, not the gentle, warm presence of the light side, but something colder, more invasive. Dark side energy repurposed for salvation. He pours it into her. Her heart rate, erratic and weak, steadies. Her breathing, shallow and gasping, deepens slightly. The internal bleeding slows. It is not healing. It is a patch, a temporary reinforcement, the biological equivalent of using the Force to hold together a structure that should collapse. It will last long enough. Shmi's eyes focus on his face. There is recognition there and something else. Confusion. She is seeing her son, but there is something in his eyes that shouldn't be there. Something old, something broken. Ani, what happened to you? The question is too large to answer. He settles for the only truth that matters in this moment. I learned what I could lose, and I decided I wouldn't lose it. He stands, lifting her easily. She weighs perhaps 40 kilograms. The Force bears most of her weight. His physical strength alone would be sufficient, but he doesn't want to jostle her, doesn't want to aggravate the injuries. He turns toward the tent entrance, carrying his mother in his arms like she carried him as a child on Tatooine. Before the Jedi, before Naboo, before any of this began. Behind him, the camp is silent. The fires still burn. The surviving Tuskens, 8 females, 4 children, do not emerge from their tents. They will not follow. They will never speak of what came to their camp in the dark. In Tusken culture, some things are simply not discussed. This will be one of them. Vader carries his mother to the swoop bike. He settles her carefully across the seat in front of him, her weight against his chest. The bike was designed for one rider, but with the Force reinforcing the repulsor lift in his arms around her to keep her stable, it works. He opens the throttle. The Zephyr G climbs into the night sky, leaving the Tusken camp behind. Ahead, the Lars homestead is 30 minutes away. His mother is alive. For the first time since Vader's consciousness crashed into this younger body, he allows himself to feel something other than tactical focus. Hope. The confession. Dawn breaks over the Lars homestead with the brutal efficiency of a desert sunrise. Darkness to full light in less than 20 minutes. The twin suns climbing above the horizon like judgment. The homestead itself is a collection of moisture vaporators and subterranean chambers built into the sand, designed to be invisible from a distance. Only the dome entrance and the courtyard are visible above ground. Padme Amidala has not slept. She spent the night pacing the courtyard wrapped in a cloak against the desert cold, refusing Beru Whitesun's offers of rest. C-3PO attempted to engage her in conversation 3 times. She told him to be quiet. The protocol droid retreated to a corner and waited in silence, his photoreceptors tracking her movement. She is a senator. She has negotiated trade disputes, survived assassination attempts, navigated the political labyrinth of Coruscant for years. She is not accustomed to feeling helpless. But right now, alone on a moisture farm on Tatooine, while the man she loves, the man she told herself she couldn't love, rides into danger she can't even see. Helplessness is the only thing she feels. Then she hears it, the high-pitched whine of a swoop bike engine approaching fast. She runs to the dome entrance, her cloak billowing behind her. The Zephyr G appears over a sand dune, moving slower than when it left, more carefully. Anakin is visible in the driver's position, hunched forward, his arms wrapped around something. Someone cradled against his chest. Padme's breath catches. Shmi. The bike settles onto the courtyard landing pad with a precision that speaks to Force-assisted piloting. Anakin doesn't dismount immediately. He sits there for 3 seconds, holding his mother, his face pressed against her hair. When he finally moves, his movements are careful, controlled, bearing her weight as though she's made of glass. The homestead erupts. Cliegg Lars wheels forward in his hover chair, a repulsor-assisted mobility device that compensates for his missing leg. His face, weathered by decades of desert sun and hardened by the grief of losing his wife, cracks completely when he sees what Anakin is carrying. Shmi? Shmi! His voice breaks on her name. Owen Lars appears from the underground chambers, followed by Beru. Get water, Owen snaps at Beru. Medical supplies, everything we have. Beru runs. Padme acts on pure political training. When crisis hits, you move. She sprints to her Naboo yacht parked 20 meters from the homestead. R2, Prep the medical bay, now. The astromech droid, positioned near the yacht's boarding ramp, beeps acknowledgement and rolls up the ramp faster than Padme has ever seen him move. C-3PO waddles after her. Oh my! Oh dear, Mistress Padme, what's happening? Shmi is alive, Padme says, not slowing. We need the Bacta dispensary online in the next 60 seconds, or she won't stay that way. Move, 3PO. Anakin carries his mother into the yacht's compact medical bay, a space designed for emergency field treatment, equipped with a basic Bacta tank, diagnostic scanner, and automated medical supplies. It's not a hospital, but it's what they have. The diagnostic scanner runs while Anakin holds her hand. The readout that appears on the display makes Padme's stomach turn. Internal bleeding, organ damage, severe malnutrition, infection spreading through multiple wound sites. The scanner flags the injuries in red. Critical, critical, critical. She needs a full medical facility, Padme says quietly. Mos Eisley has one. We can transport her. No. Anakin's voice is flat. Absolute. Moving her that distance right now will kill her. The Bacta will stabilize her. Then we move her. Anakin, the readout says. I know what it says. He doesn't look away from his mother's face. Trust me. Please. Padme looks at him. Really looks at him, the boy who confessed his love to her by a fireplace on Naboo, who spoke with desperate passion about his feelings, who kissed her like the world was ending. That boy is not in this room. The man sitting beside the medical bay platform, holding his mother's hand with a gentleness that contradicts the absolute certainty in his voice, is someone else. Someone older, someone who has seen things that shouldn't be possible to see. She trusts him. She doesn't know why, but she does. Okay, they immerse Shmi in the Bacta tank. The gelatinous blue healing fluid, enriched with concentrated nutrients and medicinal compounds, immediately begins its work. The diagnostic scanner's alarms quiet, the red critical warnings shift to amber cautionary. Shmi's breathing, visible through the clear tank walls, stabilizes. Cliegg Lars watches from his hover chair, his weathered hands gripping the armrests hard enough to make his knuckles white. Owen stands beside him, one hand on his father's shoulder. Beru brings water and ration bars that no one eats. Anakin stays by the tank. He doesn't speak, doesn't move, just watches his mother breathe. After 2 hours, the diagnostic scanner confirms, stable. Critical, but stable. She will live long enough to reach proper medical treatment. Cliegg wheels himself closer to Anakin. Son, his voice is rough. I told you to accept her death. I was wrong. I'm sorry. Anakin turns to look at him. You tried to save her. You lost your leg trying. You have nothing to apologize for. How did you? Cliegg gestures vaguely at the tank at Shmi floating in Bacta. 26 of us went into that camp. 26 armed farmers. Only 4 came back. How did you bring her out alive? I didn't give them a choice. The simplicity of the statement carries a weight that makes everyone in the room uncomfortable. Owen exchanges glances with Beru. Cliegg studies Anakin's face and sees something there he doesn't want to recognize. Padme breaks the silence. We should let her rest. Anakin, you need to rest too. When did you last sleep? I'm fine. You're not. Come on. She takes his arm, gently, not pulling, just offering. After a long moment, he stands, follows her out of the medical bay through the yacht's compact interior onto the boarding ramp. They step out into Tatooine's morning heat. The twin suns are fully up now, baking the sand. The homestead courtyard is empty. The Lars family has retreated to the underground chambers to give them privacy. Padme leads him to the exterior landing, where the yacht's shadow provides some relief from the heat. They sit on the sand, backs against the ship's landing strut. For a long time, neither speaks. Then Anakin says, I need to tell you something. Okay, and I need you to listen. Not just hear me, actually listen, because what I'm about to say is going to sound insane. Padme shifts to face him. I'm listening. He takes a breath. When he speaks, his voice carries none of the desperate emotion he showed on Naboo. It's controlled, measured. The voice of a man who has thought very carefully about every word. I had a vision, not a premonition. A memory of a future that already happened. Anakin. I saw a war, he continues, not letting her interrupt. A war that consumed the galaxy for 3 years. I saw the Jedi Order destroyed, not defeated in battle, but betrayed. Murdered by the clone army they led. I saw the Republic fall and the Empire rise in its place. I saw planets burn. I saw billions die. And I saw who was responsible. Padme is quiet. Political training tells her to challenge this, to ask for evidence. to apply logic. But something in his eyes, something haunted and old and absolutely certain, stops her. Chancellor Palpatine, Anakin says. He's a Sith Lord, Darth Sidious. He's been orchestrating both sides of the coming war. The Separatists. The clone army that Obi-Wan just discovered on Kamino. All of it. He's been planning this for decades. That's Padme stops. She was going to say impossible. But Palpatine's steady accumulation of emergency powers, his careful manipulation of the Senate, the way he always seems to benefit from every crisis, it's been bothering her for months. She's been fighting his emergency powers legislation since Naboo. How do you know this? Because in the future I saw, he turned me. Anakin's voice is barely above a whisper. He used my fear of loss, my attachment to the people I love, and he twisted it into something dark. He made me his apprentice, Darth Vader, and I helped him destroy everything. The Jedi, the Republic, the Senate. I became a monster. He turns to face her fully. His eyes are wet. I killed you, Padme. She goes very still. On Mustafar, you came to me because you were worried, because you'd seen what I'd become and you wanted to save me. I choked you with the Force. You were pregnant. With our children, twins, and I killed you. His voice breaks. I spent 20 years believing you died because of me, that our children died with you. And I was right. They didn't die. I found that out later. They were separated and hidden, but you died. By my hand. And I have spent 2 decades screaming inside a prison of my own making because of it. Padme can't speak. The words are too big, too impossible. But the grief in his voice is real. The self-loathing is real. Whatever he experienced, vision, dream, madness, he believes it completely. I'm not that person, Anakin says. Not yet, not in this timeline. But I have all of his memories. I know every mistake I made. Every choice that led me down that path, and I am done being afraid. I am done hiding. I am done pretending. He takes her hand. I love you. I have always loved you. In the timeline I experienced, we got married in secret. We hid it from everyone. And that secrecy, that isolation made it easier for Palpatine to manipulate me. To use my fear of losing you as a weapon against me. I won't make that mistake again. Anakin, Padme's voice is shaking. I know how it sounds. And I'm not asking you to believe me on faith alone. I'm asking you to watch. Pay attention to what happens next. Obi-Wan is going to send a message from Geonosis. He's going to report that he found a separatist droid army and that Count Dooku is leading it. The Senate is going to vote on emergency powers for Palpatine. The clone army is going to be deployed. And all of it, every single piece, is exactly what Sidious wants. Because it gives him the war he needs to destroy the Jedi and crown himself emperor. Padme processes this. Her political mind is already running scenarios, checking what he's saying against what she knows, Palpatine's emergency powers, the Military Creation Act that's been stalled in the Senate for months, the convenient timing of the Separatist crisis. If what you're saying is true, if Palpatine is orchestrating this, then stopping him requires proof. Evidence that the Senate can't ignore, which means we need to survive what's coming next. We need to get through Geonosis, and then we move against him. What's Geonosis? A planet less than a parsec from here. It's where Obi-Wan is right now, where he's about to be captured, where the Separatists have built their droid army. Anakin stands pulling her up with him. We're going to receive his message soon, probably within the hour. And when we do, I need you to do something for me. What? Contact Bail Organa directly. Secure channel. Tell him about the droid army. Tell him the Republic needs to authorize military action immediately. Don't wait for the Jedi Council to debate. Don't wait for committee hearings. The clone army needs to be mobilized now, or a lot of Jedi are going to die in an arena on Geonosis. You're asking me to circumvent Senate procedure. I'm asking you to save lives, including mine. He holds her gaze. I know you don't fully believe me yet. I know this sounds like the ravings of someone who's been in the desert too long, but you said on Naboo that you trusted me. I'm asking you to trust me now. Watch what happens, and if I'm right, if everything I just told you starts coming true, then help me stop it. Padme Amidala has built a career on reading people, on knowing when someone is lying, when they're manipulating, when they're using truth as a weapon. The man standing in front of her is not lying. He believes every word he's saying. More than that, he's lived it. Okay, she says, I'll watch. And if you're right, she takes a breath. Then we stop him. Together. Anakin pulls her into an embrace. Not the desperate kiss by the fireplace on Naboo. Something else. The embrace of someone who has lost everything and been given a chance to prevent it. Thank you. They stand there in the shadow of the yacht while Tatooine's heat builds around them. Inside the medical bay, Shmi Skywalker floats in Bacta, alive. Across the galaxy, Obi-Wan Kenobi is about to send a message that will change everything. And in the Senate on Coruscant, Darth Sidious sits in his Chancellor's office, moving pieces on a board he thinks he controls. He is wrong. The Gambit. R2-D2 rolls into the courtyard at exactly the moment Anakin predicted. The astromech's dome swivels, his optical sensor focusing on Padme and Anakin standing near the yacht. He emits a series of urgent beeps, the specific pattern that means priority message incoming. Padme's expression shifts immediately from personal to professional. Play it, R2. The holographic projector activates. A blue-tinged figure materializes above R2's dome. Obi-Wan Kenobi, slightly distorted by transmission interference, his image flickering. He's breathing hard, speaking quickly. The background shows industrial architecture, metallic surfaces, the distinctive orange-brown hue of Geonosis' rock formations. Anakin, my long-range transmitter has been knocked out. Retransmit this message to Coruscant. Obi-Wan's voice carries the clipped urgency of a man operating under time pressure. I have tracked the bounty hunter Jango Fett to the droid foundries on Geonosis. The Trade Federation is taking delivery of a droid army here, and it is clear that Viceroy Gunray is behind the assassination attempts on Senator Amidala. The Commerce Guilds and Corporate Alliance have both pledged their armies to Count Dooku and are forming the transmission cuts, not gradually, abruptly, mid-sentence, replaced by static and the sound of weapons fire, droid weapons. Then Obi-Wan's voice strained, wait. The hologram flickers once more, showing Obi-Wan surrounded by droidicas, their shields glowing, blaster arms extended. Then nothing. The transmission ends. Padme's face has gone pale. He's been captured. Yes. Anakin's voice is calm. Too calm for someone whose master just got ambushed. Exactly as I said he would be. She turns to look at him. You knew this would happen. I told you, I've seen this before. He moves to R2-D2. R2, relay that message to the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. Full transmission, no editing. Market priority 1. The astromech beeps acknowledgement and extends his long-range antenna. The message begins its relay, subspace transmission, hyperwave carrier, approximately 45 minutes to reach Coruscant from Tatooine's position in the Outer Rim. Anakin turns back to Padme. Now contact Bail Organa. Secure channel. Tell him everything Obi-Wan just reported. And tell him something else, something that's not in that transmission. What? The exact coordinates of Count Dooku's hangar bay on Geonosis. Sector 7G, landing platform 12. Tell him the Separatist leadership is gathering there. Newt Gunray, Wat Tambor, Poggle the Lesser. All of them tell him they have the plans for a weapon. A planet-killing weapon, Death Star they'll call it eventually. And tell him that if the Republic authorizes military action against Geonosis, the clone army on Kamino needs to be deployed simultaneously with the Jedi strike team, not as an afterthought. Padme stares at him. How do you know any of that? Coordinates? Separatist leadership locations? A planet-killing weapon? Because in the timeline I experienced, the Jedi sent 212 Masters and Knights to Geonosis. Only 30 survived. They were overwhelmed in an execution arena while the Senate debated and the clone army arrived barely in time to save the survivors. I'm not letting that happen again. His voice hardens. Make the call, Padme. Bail trusts you. He'll listen. And if the emergency powers vote is already moving, and I know Palpatine's allies are pushing it right now, then Bail can use this intelligence to ensure the clone deployment happens in coordinated timing. She studies his face, sees the certainty there, the tactical precision. This is not the impulsive Padawan she's come to know. This is someone else, someone who speaks like a military commander who has fought a war and learned from it. All right, she says, I'll make the call. She moves into the yacht. Anakin hears her voice, low and urgent, speaking into the secure comm system. He can't make out the words, but he knows what she's saying. Knows that Bail Organa, cautious, principled, deeply opposed to Palpatine's power accumulation, will take the intelligence seriously, will use his Senate connections to push for immediate action. C-3PO emerges from the yacht's interior, his golden plating catching the sunlight. Oh my, Master Anakin. I do hope everything is all right. The medical readouts for Mistress Shmi are showing improvement, but the stress levels in this household are quite concerning. 3PO, Anakin's voice is gentle but firm. I need you to do something for me. Of course, sir. Anything at all. Stay with my mother, monitor her condition. If anything changes, anything at all, you alert me immediately. Can you do that? The protocol droid straightens, his photoreceptors brightening. I shall guard Mistress Shmi with utmost vigilance, Master Anakin. You have my word. Thank you. C-3PO waddles back into the yacht. Anakin watches him go and feels something unexpected. Gratitude. In the timeline he experienced, 3PO and R2 were the only witnesses to his secret wedding. They kept that secret for years. They were, in their own way, family. Owen Lars appears at the dome entrance, wiping his hands on a cloth. Your mother's stable. Klieg's with her, Beru's preparing food. He pauses. You should eat something. You look like hell. I'm fine. You're not, and whatever you're planning to do next, because I can see you're planning something, you'll do it better with food in your stomach. Owen's voice carries the practical authority of a man who has spent his life farming moisture on a desert planet. No nonsense, no wasted words. Beru made Hubba gourd stew. Come on. Anakin follows him into the underground chambers. The homestead's interior is cool, insulated from Tatooine's heat by meters of sand. The kitchen is small, functional, carved from compressed sandstone. Beru has set out bowls and a pot of stew that smells better than anything Anakin has eaten in recent memory. They eat in silence. Owen and Beru sit across from him, exchanging glances but not speaking. Klieg remains with Shmi in the yacht. The only sound is spoons against bowls. Finally, Owen breaks the silence. What you did last night, bringing her back. That wasn't... He struggles for words. That wasn't normal, even for a Jedi. No, Anakin agrees. It wasn't. Are you going to tell me what happened? I grew up fast, learned things I shouldn't have learned yet, saw things I wish I hadn't seen. Anakin sets down his spoon. And I'm using that knowledge to make sure the people I love don't suffer for my mistakes. What mistakes? You're 19. In one sense. In another sense, I'm 42. He sees their confused expressions and shakes his head. I can't explain it in a way that makes sense. Not yet, but I promise you this. Shmi is going to live. She's going to have the life she deserves. Safe, free, surrounded by family. Beru reaches across the table and places her hand over his. Then that's enough. You brought her back. Everything else is details. Padme appears in the doorway. Anakin. Bail got the message. He's convening an emergency session of the Loyalist Committee. He's using your intelligence to push for immediate clone army authorization under the Emergency Powers Act. How long until the vote? He estimates 6 hours. The Senate moves faster when there's a clear military threat. Good. Anakin stands. Then we have time to reach Geonosis before the Jedi strike team deploys. Padme's voice rises slightly. Anakin, the Council is sending 200 Jedi Masters to Geonosis. You're a Padawan. They'll order you to stay back. They can try. He moves past her back toward the yacht. We're taking your ship. R2 and 3PO are coming with us. We leave in 20 minutes. Anakin! She follows him. This is insane. You're talking about flying into a war zone. He stops, turns to face her. In the timeline I experienced, you and I flew to Geonosis together, against orders, on an emotional rescue mission. We were captured, chained in an arena, sentenced to execution. We survived because Mace Windu's strike team arrived and because Yoda brought the clone army as a last-second rescue. Over 170 Jedi died. Obi-Wan was injured. I lost my arm. He holds up his right arm, flesh whole, 5 fingers. This one, cut off at the elbow by Count Dooku. Padme goes very still. Your arm? I got a mechanical replacement. Spent the next 3 years learning to use it. It was one of many things that made it easier for Palpatine to convince me I was more machine than man. That I'd already lost my humanity. His voice drops. This time we're not going on an emotional rescue mission. We're going with intelligence, with a plan, and we're going to save Obi-Wan without 170 Jedi dying in an arena. How? By not getting captured. By using the intelligence I have, coordinates, facility layouts, security patterns, to extract Obi-Wan before Dooku moves him to the arena. And by ensuring the clone army and the Jedi strike team arrive in coordinated timing instead of the clusterfuck it was last time. Padme has heard Anakin swear perhaps twice in all the time she's known him. The casual profanity combined with the tactical language reinforces what she's been seeing since he came back from the Tusken camp. This is not a 19-year-old Padawan, this is someone else. All right, she says, we do this your way. But Anakin, if you're wrong, if this goes sideways, it won't. He says it with the absolute certainty of a man who has already lived through the alternative. Trust me, they board the yacht. Shmi remains stable in the Bacta tank, C-3PO standing vigil beside her. Klieg has returned to the homestead. There's nothing more he can do here, and watching his wife float unconscious is harder than waiting. Owen and Beru stand in the courtyard as the yacht's engines power up. "Bring her back safe," Owen calls up to the boarding ramp. "I will," Anakin promises. "All of us." The yacht lifts off. Tatooine's twin suns blaze overhead as they climb through the atmosphere, leaving the Lars homestead behind. R2-D2 plugs into the navigation console. Padme takes the pilot's seat. Anakin stands behind her, one hand on the back of her chair, his eyes focused on the starfield ahead. "Geonosis is less than a parsec from here," Padme says, programming the coordinates. 45 minutes in hyperspace. "I know. What happens when we get there? We don't land at the main spaceport. We come in low, use the asteroid rings for cover, and set down in the Ebon Sea region. Flat desert, minimal droid patrols 3 kilometers from the industrial sector where Obi-Wan is being held. We go in on foot, extract him. Get out before anyone knows we were there. And if he's already in the arena, he won't be. Dooku needs him alive for propaganda proof that the Jedi attacked first. Justification for the Separatist war. He'll keep Obi-Wan in a containment field until the last possible moment. We have time." Padme activates the hyperdrive. The stars stretch into lines. Tatooine disappears behind them. The arena. Geonosis emerges from hyperspace as a dusty red sphere, its surface pocked with volcanic rock formations and massive hive structures built by the indigenous Geonosians. The planet is less than a parsec from Tatooine, but it might as well be a different galaxy. Where Tatooine is sand and emptiness, Geonosis is industry and war. Padme brings the yacht in low, skimming the asteroid belt that orbits the planet's equator. The rocks provide cover from scanning systems, and the Separatist fleet, visible as a cluster of Trade Federation Lucrehulk battleships in high orbit, doesn't notice one small Naboo vessel threading through the debris field. "Ebon Sea region ahead," Padme reports. "Setting down now." The yacht descends through thin atmosphere and settles on flat volcanic rock. The landing gear engages. Through the viewport, Geonosis' landscape spreads in every direction. Rust-colored stone, steam vents hissing from geothermal activity, and in the distance, the massive spire structures of the droid foundries. Anakin is already moving toward the equipment locker. He pulls out a survival pack, a compact comlink, and checks his lightsaber. The weapon hangs at his belt, familiar weight, but he sees it differently now. In the timeline he experienced, he wielded a red blade for 2 decades. The blue feels almost foreign. "R2, stay with the ship," he says. "Keep the engines warm and monitor Separatist comm channels. If you detect any indication they found us, you alert me immediately and prep for emergency takeoff." R2 beeps acknowledgement. "3PO, you stay with R2 and monitor Mother's condition. Anything changes, you tell me." "Oh my, Master Anakin. I do hope you'll be careful out there. The strategic imperatives of this mission?" 3PO. "Yes, sir. Staying with the ship, sir." Padme has changed from her senatorial robes into the practical travel clothes she wore on Naboo. Fitted pants, boots, a utility vest. She clips a compact blaster to her belt. "I'm coming with you." "Padme, don't argue. You said we survived this together last time. We're doing it together this time too." He looks at her, sees the determination in her eyes. In the original timeline, she followed him into danger because she loved him and was worried. This time, she's choosing to go because she believes him, because she's decided to trust the impossible thing he told her. "All right," he says, "stay close, follow my lead, and if I tell you to run, you run. No arguments." "No arguments," she agrees. They exit the yacht into Geonosis' harsh environment. The air is thin, breathable but uncomfortable, carrying the sulfur smell of volcanic activity. The temperature is hot, not Tatooine hot, but oppressive. The twin suns here are smaller, older, casting orange light that makes everything look slightly diseased. Anakin extends his awareness through the Force. He can feel Obi-Wan 3 kilometers northeast, his presence familiar and strained, alive, captive, suspended in an energy field that prevents movement but doesn't render him unconscious, perfect for interrogation. "This way," Anakin says, setting off at a ground-eating pace. They cover the 3 kilometers in 35 minutes, moving through rocky terrain that provides natural cover. Twice they spot Geonosian patrols overhead. Winged insectoid beings carrying sonic blasters, flying in formation. But Anakin senses them before visual contact and pulls Padme into crevices until the patrols pass. The industrial sector looms ahead. Massive spire structures connected by walkways, droid foundries churning out B-1 battle droids by the thousands, the sound of machinery like thunder made mechanical. Anakin leads Padme to a ventilation shaft on the complex's outer wall, exactly where he knew it would be, because Vader's memories include the facility schematics from Imperial records decades later. Here, he ignites his lightsaber and cuts through the grating. The metal falls away. The shaft beyond is dark, narrow, descending at a 45-degree angle. Padme looks at the opening, then at him. "You're sure about this?" "I've done this before. Different facility, same design principles." Geonosians build everything with redundant ventilation because of the geothermal heat. These shafts connect to the main chambers. He deactivates his blade. "I'll go first. You follow. Stay quiet." He drops into the shaft. The descent is steep but manageable, his boots finding purchase on the ridged interior. Padme follows, her movements careful but steady. The shaft angles downward for approximately 40 meters, then levels out into a horizontal passage. Anakin extends his senses. Obi-Wan is close now, very close, 2 chambers ahead, through a security door that he stops. Padme nearly collides with him. "What?" Guards, 2 droidekas, outside the containment chamber. He closes his eyes, feeling through the Force. The destroyer droids are in standby mode, their shields down, waiting. They'll activate the moment the door opens. In the original timeline, Obi-Wan escaped his containment field through clever manipulation of the controls. This time, Anakin is breaking him out. "Can you get past them?" "Not past. Through." He moves forward, hand already reaching for his lightsaber. The ventilation shaft opens into a corridor. Anakin cuts the grating from the inside, drops silently to the floor. Padme follows. The corridor is industrial, bare metal walls, harsh lighting, the aesthetic of function over form. The door to the containment chamber is 20 meters ahead. The 2 droidekas flank it, bronze-colored shells folded into wheel form. Optical sensors dark. They look inactive. They're not. Their threat detection systems are constantly running. Anakin doesn't try stealth, he walks directly toward them. At 15 meters, the droidekas activate. The transformation is fluid, shells unfolding, twin blaster arms extending, deflector shields snapping into place with a sound like contained thunder. They open fire. Anakin's lightsaber is already moving. The blue blade intercepts the first volley of blaster bolts and redirects them, not randomly, but precisely. 2 bolts reverse course and impact the left droideka's shield generator. The shields flicker. Anakin extends his free hand and pulls with the Force. The droideka flies toward him. Its shields are designed to protect against frontal assault, not telekinetic manipulation from an angle the designers didn't anticipate. It crashes into the wall beside Anakin. He drives his lightsaber through its central processor before it can recalibrate. The second droideka adjusts its targeting, tracking Anakin's movement. It fires a sustained burst. Anakin deflects, advances, and then does something that makes Padme's breath catch. He catches the blaster bolts. Not on his lightsaber, on the Force itself. The energy rounds stop in midair, hanging like frozen fireflies. Anakin holds them there for 2 seconds, an impossible display of Force control, then releases them all at once in a compressed wave that slams into the droideka and shatters its shield generator. The droid topples. Anakin crushes it with telekinesis. Silence settles over the corridor. Smoke rises from the destroyed droids. Padme stares at him. "How did you? That's not possible." "It is if you have enough practice." He moves to the door, cutting through the locking mechanism with his lightsaber. The door slides open. Inside, a circular chamber dominated by an energy field in the center. Obi-Wan Kenobi hangs suspended inside the field, his body held immobile by crackling blue restraints. His eyes are open, alert. When he sees Anakin, his expression cycles through surprise, relief, and confusion. "Anakin," his voice is strained. "What are you doing here? You were supposed to relay my message to the Council." "I did. They're on their way." Anakin moves to the containment field's control panel. 212 Jedi Masters. ETA approximately 30 minutes. "Then why are you? Saving you before this gets complicated." Anakin's hands move across the controls with the competence of someone who knows exactly which sequences to input. The energy field flickers. Obi-Wan drops. Anakin catches him with the Force, lowering him gently to the ground. Obi-Wan staggers, regaining his balance. He looks at Anakin with an expression that contains a dozen questions he doesn't know how to ask. "You fought through Geonosian security, alone, as a Padawan." "Not alone. Padme's with me." Anakin gestures to where she stands in the doorway, blaster drawn, watching the corridor. "Senator Amidala." Obi-Wan starts, then stops. Recalibrates. How did you know where to find me? Long story. Short version, I had a vision. It showed me exactly where you'd be, what the Separatists are doing, and what's about to happen. We need to move. Dooku is in the Spire complex, and the Jedi strike team is about to walk into a trap in the execution arena. A trap? The Separatists know the Jedi are coming. They're going to capture Masters, chain them in the Petranaki arena, and execute them publicly as proof that the Jedi attacked first. It gives Dooku the propaganda he needs to justify the war. But Anakin's voice hardens. That's not happening this time. Because I've already told the Council exactly where Dooku's forces are concentrated, and the clone army is being deployed in coordinated timing instead of showing up as a last-second rescue. Obi-Wan stares at him. Anakin, what happened to you? I grew up, rapidly, painfully, and I'm using what I learned. He moves toward the door. Come on, we need to reach the hangar level before alarms erupt throughout the facility. Red warning lights flash. A mechanical voice in Geonosian accented basic announces, "Alert! Republic forces detected. All defensive units to battle stations." Through the Force, Anakin feels it. Mace Windu's presence, blazing purple bright, descending from orbit with 211 other Jedi. The strike team has arrived. Too late to avoid the arena, Anakin mutters. Plan B. There's a plan B? Obi-Wan asks. We get to the arena, we position ourselves strategically, and when Dooku releases the execution beasts, we make sure the casualties are minimal instead of catastrophic. Anakin looks at Obi-Wan. Master, I need you to trust me. Everything I'm about to do is going to look wrong. It's going to look dark, but I promise you, I'm not falling, I'm fighting, and I need you to fight with me. Obi-Wan studies his former Padawan's face, sees something there he doesn't recognize, something older, something carrying weight that no 19-year-old should carry. I trust you, Obi-Wan says finally. Always have, even when you're being an idiot, which is most of the time. Anakin almost smiles. Good, because we're about to be idiots together. They run. The path to the arena is chaos. Battle droids pour through corridors responding to the Jedi incursion. Anakin cuts through them with efficiency that makes Obi-Wan's tactical combat look restrained. He doesn't deflect blaster bolts. He redirects them with precision, turning each shot into a weapon against the droids firing it. He doesn't dodge. He moves through the attacks like he knows where each bolt will be before it fires. Because he does. Vader spent 2 decades fighting Jedi beings with precognition and force sensitivity far beyond battle droids. Reading droid targeting patterns is trivial by comparison. They reach the arena access tunnels. The sound hits first, massive crowd noise, the roar of Geonosians filling the stands. Then the scale becomes visible. The Petranaki arena is enormous, carved from solid rock, tiered seating rising hundreds of meters, and in the center, 3 stone pillars, 3 figures chained to them. Mace Windu, Kit Fisto, Aayla Secura. Anakin's breath catches. In the original timeline, Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Padme were the ones chained to those pillars. The Jedi strike team arrived as rescuers. This time the timeline has shifted. The Jedi arrived faster, entered the arena differently, and Dooku's forces captured 3 masters instead. Count Dooku stands in the archducal box overlooking the arena, his aristocratic features composed, his curved lightsaber hilt visible at his belt. Beside him, Newt Gunray, Poggle the Lesser, Jango Fett in Mandalorian armor. Dooku's amplified voice echoes across the arena. The Jedi have committed an unprovoked act of aggression against the sovereign world of Geonosis. These 3, Master Windu, Master Fisto, Master Secura, will serve as examples of what happens to those who threaten the Confederacy of Independent Systems. The crowd roars approval. Geonosians fill the stands, their sonic clicking forming a wall of sound. Padme grabs Anakin's arm. We have to help them. We will, but not yet. Anakin is scanning the arena, running calculations. 199 Jedi are positioned throughout the arena stands, disguised among the crowd, waiting for Mace's signal. The clone army is... He reaches into the Force, feeling 12 minutes out. LAT/I gunships approaching from orbit under Yoda's command. Not yet? Obi-Wan's voice is sharp. Anakin, they're about to release the execution beasts. The arena floor splits open. 3 massive gates rise, and through them come the creatures. The Acklay, A crustacean reptile hybrid the size of a small building, 6-clawed legs, elongated head with massive fangs, it charges toward Kit Fisto's pillar. The Reek, an enraged bull creature with 3 horns and muscle mass that could flip a speeder. It focuses on Mace Windu. The Nexu, a feline predator, quadrupedal, quills running down its spine, fangs designed to tear through armor. It stalks toward Aayla Secura. And Anakin moves. He doesn't run into the arena, he launches. A force-augmented jump that carries him 50 meters in a single bound, landing between the Acklay and Kit Fisto's pillar. His lightsaber ignites mid-flight. The blue blade burns against Geonosis' orange light. The Acklay charges. Its massive claw legs slam into the ground where Anakin was standing a heartbeat before. Anakin rolls, comes up beside one of the creature's legs, and doesn't swing his lightsaber at it. He reaches into the Force and snaps the leg, not cutting, breaking. Telekinetic force applied with surgical precision to the joint, compressing it beyond its structural tolerance. The leg folds. The Acklay stumbles. Anakin moves to the next leg. Snap. The creature crashes sideways, off balance, unable to coordinate its attack. Kit Fisto, still chained to his pillar, watches with visible shock. Padawan Skywalker? Anakin doesn't answer. The Acklay rights itself, lunges with its remaining functional legs. Anakin extends both hands and catches it, holds 6 tons of enraged predator in a telekinetic grip that should not be possible for someone his age. The Acklay thrashes. Anakin's hands shake with effort. Then he drives the creature's own momentum against it, redirecting the lunge into the arena wall. The impact is enormous. The Acklay's skull cracks against stone. It drops. The arena has gone silent. Obi-Wan engages the Reek. His Soresu form is perfect for this, defensive, patient, waiting for the creature to exhaust itself. But the Reek is not exhausting itself. It's accelerating, horns lowered, charging with enough force to gore through Durasteel. Anakin reaches out through the Force and dominates the creature. Not gently, not with the light side technique of calming beasts through connection. He overwhelms its mind with raw force presence, crushing its will, replacing its aggression with fear. The Reek stops mid-charge, its eyes roll white. It turns and stampedes away from Obi-Wan, directly into a formation of B-1 battle droids that were positioning for the Jedi massacre. 20 droids go down like pins. Aayla Secura is fighting the Nexu with force pushes, keeping it at bay while chained. Padme has climbed to her pillar, somehow using equipment from her utility vest, and is working on the restraints. The Nexu notices, shifts its attention to Padme, leaps. Anakin is faster, his lightsaber bisects the creature mid-flight. The two halves fall away. The Nexu dies before it hits the ground. Padme finishes with the restraints. Aayla drops free, calling her lightsaber to her hand from where the Geonosians confiscated it. Thank you, Senator. The battle erupts. 199 Jedi ignite lightsabers simultaneously throughout the arena. The crowd scatters. Battle droids pour from every entrance. Thousands of them. B-1 models. B-2 super battle droids. Droidekas. The arena becomes a war zone. But the Jedi are prepared this time. They're not surprised. They're not scattered. And most importantly, the sky fills with LAT/I gunships. Yoda's voice comes through on every Jedi's comlink. Arrived, the clone army has. Hold your positions, we shall. The gunships descend like avenging angels, ball turrets firing, side doors open with clone troopers laying down covering fire. The arena's droid army, designed to overwhelm and slaughter confused Jedi, meets coordinated Republic military force and shatters. Anakin fights through the chaos toward Mace Windu's pillar. Obi-Wan is already there, using his lightsaber to cut through the restraints. Mace drops free, his purple blade igniting, his Shatterpoint ability already reading the battle's critical fault lines. Skywalker. Mace's voice is controlled, but his eyes are not. What I just saw. Later. Master Windu. Right now, Dooku is escaping. Anakin points to the archducal box. It's empty. Dooku, Gunraid, Jango Fett, all gone. He's heading for his hangar. Solar sailor, pre-fueled, ready to jump to hyperspace the moment he's clear. How do you know? I know. Trust me. Or don't. But if you want to capture the Separatist leadership instead of just their droid army, you need to move now. Mace looks at Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan nods. He's been right about everything so far. Mace makes the decision. Kit, Aayla, secure the arena. Obi-Wan Skywalker with me. They run. The old man's last lesson. The hangar is exactly where Anakin said it would be. Sector 7G, landing platform 12, carved into Geonosis' rocky spire at an elevation that provides clear access to orbital escape routes. Count Dooku's Punwarka 116 class solar sailor sits on the platform, its distinctive curved design already humming with pre-flight systems, the solar sail array beginning to unfold. Dooku himself stands at the boarding ramp, his aristocratic features composed despite the chaos erupting across Geonosis below. Beside him, Jango Fett in full Mandalorian armor, twin WES TAR 3-4 blaster pistols drawn. The bounty hunter's helmet turns toward the hangar entrance as 3 Jedi burst through. Mace Windu, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, Jedi. Dooku's voice carries the cultured disdain of a man addressing insects he finds beneath him. You've caused quite the disruption, though I must say your tactics today were unusual, almost as if you knew exactly where to strike. We had good intelligence, Mace says, his purple blade igniting. Surrender, Dooku. The Separatist leadership is being captured as we speak. Your droid army is being destroyed. This war ends here, does it? Dooku's hand moves to his curved lightsaber hilt, but doesn't draw. Tell me, Master Windu, who provided this good intelligence? Because the precision of your assault suggests foreknowledge that should not exist. His eyes find Anakin. Hold there. Young Skywalker, I remember you from our last encounter. Impulsive, aggressive, driven by emotion rather than discipline. He tilts his head slightly, but today you fought like someone else entirely. You moved through that arena with the tactical precision of a master. You dominated beasts with raw force power that a Padawan should not possess, and you knew exactly where to find me. Anakin says nothing. His lightsaber hangs at his belt, still deactivated. His hands are relaxed at his sides. Who are you? Dooku asks quietly. Because you are not the boy I fought before. I'm the man you're going to lose to, Anakin says. Again, Jango Fett opens fire, twin blaster pistols, maximum rate targeting all 3 Jedi simultaneously with the professional efficiency of the galaxy's most dangerous bounty hunter. The shots are precise, coordinated, designed to overwhelm multiple opponents. Mace's purple blade intercepts the bolts aimed at him. Obi-Wan's blue blade creates a defensive pattern that deflects rather than redirects. And Anakin doesn't move his blade at all. He extends his right hand and the blaster bolts stop. Just stop. Hang in the air like frozen insects. 12 shots, suspended in time and space, crackling with contained energy. Jango's helmet tilts. That's not possible. Anakin closes his fist. The bolts reverse course. Jango's armor is Beskar, Mandalorian iron, one of the few materials that can resist lightsaber strikes. The reverse blaster fire hits the armor's weak points instead. Joint seals. Helmet visor. The undersuit between plates. Jango staggers. Drops. Dooku's lightsaber ignites. The crimson blade burns against the hangar's industrial lighting. Impressive. But parlor tricks won't save you from Makashi, boy. He attacks. The opening sequence is textbook form too, a flowing diagonal cut that transitions into a wrist rotation thrust, the curved hilt providing leverage for precision attacks that exploit gaps in an opponent's defense. It's elegant, economical, designed to defeat opponents through superior technique rather than raw power. It is also exactly what Vader has been expecting for 20 years. Anakin's lightsaber ignites mid-parry. The blue blade catches Dooku's Crimson One at an angle that bleeds force away from the thrust. Anakin doesn't counter immediately. He steps left, repositions, forces Dooku to reset his stance. Then he attacks. Gem So, Form V, the way of the Krayt Dragon. Not the impulsive, emotional version that 19-year-old Anakin Skywalker used, the refined, controlled version that Darth Vader perfected over 2 decades. Overhead power strikes, each one force augmented to carry kinetic energy that Makashi's precision cannot match. The Rot's novelization states it explicitly. His own elegant Makashi simply did not generate the kinetic energy to meet Gem So head-to-head. Dooku parries the first strike. The impact drives his blade down 6 inches. He parries the second, his wrist rotates with the force, absorbing what he can't deflect. The third strike breaks through his guard completely. He's forced to give ground. Dooku's eyes widen fractionally. This is not the Padawan he remembers. This is something else. Someone else. You've trained, Dooku says, his blade work accelerating to compensate. But training alone cannot. Anakin doesn't let him finish. He presses forward with a combination sequence that Vader used to kill Jedi Masters during the Purge. High strike, low sweep, spinning slash, all of it executed with the timing that only comes from muscle memory built over thousands of duels. Dooku blocks the first 2. The third catches his shoulder, a shallow cut burning through his cape and searing the skin beneath. Dooku stumbles, recovers, attempts Force Lightning, Sith tradition, dark side energy channeled as electrical attack. The blue-white arc erupts from his fingers toward Anakin's chest. Anakin catches it, not on his lightsaber, on his hands. The lightning flows into his palms through his body and he redirects it. Not back at Dooku, that would be expected. He channels it into the hangar floor beneath Dooku's feet, superheating the metal, creating a kinetic shockwave that throws the Count off balance. Before Dooku can recover, Anakin extends his free hand and uses pure telekinetic force to slam Dooku against the hangar wall. The impact is massive. Cracks spiderweb across the duocrate. Dooku's lightsaber flies from his grip, spinning through the air. Anakin catches it with the force, brings it to his hand, deactivates it. Now he holds two lightsabers, his blue blade still burning, Dooku's weapon inert in his left hand. He advances. Dooku is on the ground, breathing hard, his aristocratic composure finally completely shattered. His right hand is empty. His left reaches for a backup weapon that isn't there. His eyes track Anakin's approach with the expression of a man understanding that he has miscalculated catastrophically. "Your master told you that you'd rule at his side," Anakin says. His voice is not loud. It doesn't need to be. "He told you the plan was to capture me, turn me, make me his new apprentice. What he didn't tell you is that you were always expendable, always meant to die." Dooku's breathing is ragged. You can't know that. I know because I lived it. In another timeline, another life. Anakin's blue blade comes to rest at Dooku's throat, on the invisible hand. 3 years from now, you're kneeling, both hands severed, defenseless, and Palpatine whispers, "Do it to me." And I do. I cut off your head because by that point I'm so broken, so corrupted, that I'll do anything he asks. Dooku's face has lost all color. Palpatine, you know. I know everything. I know he's Darth Sidious. I know about Order 66. I know about the inhibitor chips in the clone troopers' brains. I know about the Death Star. I know about the empire he's planning to build on the ashes of the Republic. Anakin's voice drops. And I know that you, Count of Sereno, former Jedi Master, the man who left the Order because you saw corruption and wanted something better, you were always just a tool, a means to an end. And when you stopped being useful, he was going to throw you away like garbage. Silence fills the hangar. Mace and Obi-Wan stand back, watching, neither moving to interfere. They can feel what's happening through the Force. Not a fall to darkness, but something else. A reckoning. "You have two choices," Anakin says. "Die here, right now. A disposable pawn who never mattered to Sidious for a single day. Or live. Tell the Jedi Council everything. His name, his plan, Order 66, the Death Star, everything. Testify against the man who was going to kill you anyway." Dooku stares up at the young face above him, sees something impossible in those eyes. The knowledge of someone who has already lived through all of this, who has seen the endgame and come back to prevent it. "If I testify," Dooku says slowly, "what happens to me? Life imprisonment, probably on Coruscant, under Jedi guard, but alive, with the satisfaction of knowing you destroyed Sidious's plan before he could execute it." Anakin's blade doesn't waver. "Choose now." Dooku looks at the lightsaber at his throat, looks at Mace Windu, whose Shatterpoint ability is reading this moment as a nexus of galactic significance, looks at Obi-Wan, who fought beside Qui-Gon Jinn, Dooku's former Padawan and might be the closest thing to family Dooku has left. "I choose to live," Dooku says. Anakin deactivates his lightsaber, steps back. Mace Windu moves forward, pulling force suppression cuffs from his utility belt. He secures Dooku's hands with the efficiency of a man who has captured dangerous beings before. The cuffs engage, severing Dooku's connection to the Force. The Count's shoulders sag as the power he's wielded his entire life disappears. "Count Dooku," Mace says formally, "you are under arrest for treason against the Republic, war crimes, conspiracy to commit genocide, and operating as a Sith Lord under the name Darth Tyrannus. You will be transported to Coruscant for trial." Dooku nods. "I understand, and I will cooperate, fully." Obi-Wan's comlink activates. Yoda's voice, "The arena secured is. The Separatist leadership captured. Minimal casualties. 41 Jedi wounded, 7 killed. The droid army destroyed or surrendered. Victory, this is. 7 Jedi dead. In the original timeline, over 170 perished. The difference is the coordinated timing, the intelligence Anakin provided, the clone army arriving as part of the plan rather than as emergency rescue. Anakin closes his eyes briefly. 7 is still too many, but it is not 170. It is not the massacre it could have been. "What about Jango Fett?" Mace asks, gesturing to the Mandalorian's body. Obi-Wan checks. "Alive, unconscious, armor absorbed most of the impact. We should take him into custody." He's been working directly with Dooku. His testimony could be valuable. They secure Jango and Dooku. LAT/I gunships arrive at the hangar platform to extract them. The battle for Geonosis is over. The Clone Wars, the manufactured conflict designed to destroy the Jedi and empower Palpatine, has been stopped before it could begin in earnest. Mace Windu turns to Anakin. His expression is controlled, but his eyes carry a dozen questions. "Skywalker, we need to talk." "I know," Anakin says. "On Coruscant, after Dooku testifies, I'll tell the Council everything." The Unraveling. Coruscant. The Jedi Temple, High Council Chamber, with its panoramic windows overlooking the city planet's endless sprawl. All 12 seats filled. Yoda, Mace Windu, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Plo Koon, Saesee Tiin, Adi Gallia, Shak Ti, Eth Koth, Oppo Renkisis, Coleman Trebor, Even Piel, Agen Kolar. The full council convened for what Mace described in his summons as a matter of galactic urgency. Count Dooku stands in the center of the chamber in force suppression cuffs, flanked by 2 Jedi Temple guards. His aristocratic bearing is diminished but not destroyed. He is a former Jedi Master facing the council he once sat upon. The irony is not lost on him. "Count Dooku," Yoda says, his voice carrying 800 years of authority. "Testify you will, under truth serum and force compulsion, everything you know about Darth Sidious and his plans." "I will cooperate," Dooku says. His voice is steady. "But first, I have a question. For young Skywalker, Anakin stands to the side with Obi-Wan and Padme. She was granted special dispensation to attend as a key witness to the Geonosis operation. He meets Dooku's gaze. Ask, in the hangar, you said you lived through this in another timeline. You saw the future where Sidious succeeded, where I died on the invisible hand." Dooku's eyes are sharp. How? How does a Padawan experience a lifetime that hasn't happened yet? "I don't know," Anakin says honestly. "On Tatooine, riding to save my mother, something happened. 20 years of memories that belonged to someone else, to who I would become if I made certain choices, crashed into my mind. I saw everything, the fall of the Jedi, the rise of the Empire, what I became in service to Sidious, and I decided that future would not happen." Silence in the council chamber. The masters exchange glances. This is not normal, not prophecy, not force vision, but something else. Something unprecedented. "The force works in mysterious ways," Yoda says finally. "But verify your story. Dooku's testimony will. Speak, Count. Tell us everything." And Dooku speaks. He tells them that Supreme Chancellor Sheev Palpatine is the Sith Lord Darth Sidious, that Sidious orchestrated the Separatist crisis from both sides, funding the droid army through the Trade Federation and Commerce Guilds, while simultaneously arranging for the clone army's creation through murdered Jedi Master Sifo Dyas. That every clone trooper has an inhibitor chip implanted in their brainstem during embryonic development on Kamino. That these chips are programmed with contingency orders, the most critical being Order 66, execute all Jedi officers. He describes the grand plan, how Sidious intended to use the Clone Wars to centralize power in the Chancellor's office, to position himself as the Republic's only salvation, to turn the clone army against the Jedi in a single coordinated strike, and to crown himself emperor over a Sith empire that would rule for 1,000 years. He provides evidence, encrypted communications with Sidious, financial records of Separatist funding traced to Republic accounts, the technical specifications of the inhibitor chips, and the Death Star plans, delivered by Poggle the Lesser on Geonosis, now in Jedi custody. The Council listens in stunned silence. When Dooku finishes, the weight of what they've heard settles over the chamber like ash. Ki-Adi-Mundi speaks first. "This is the Chancellor, the man we've trusted for over a decade." "The man who clouded our vision," Mace interrupts. His Shatterpoint ability has been working overtime throughout the testimony, reading every fault line in the galaxy's structure. "I can see it now, the dark side shroud that's been obscuring the Force. It emanates from the Senate, from Palpatine's office. How did we not see this?" "Because he's that good at hiding," Anakin says. "Sidious has been planning this for decades, maybe longer. He's the most dangerous Sith Lord in 1,000 years, and his greatest weapon is patience." "Verify Dooku's claims we must," Yoda says. He looks at Shak Ti via hologram from Kamino. "The inhibitor chips. Inspect them, can you?" Shak Ti's expression is grim. "I've already begun preliminary investigation based on Count Dooku's testimony. The Kaminoans are resistant, but with Council authority, I can force the issue." "Do it," Mace says. "If those chips are real, we need them removed from every clone immediately. What about Palpatine? Plo Koon asks. If he truly is Darth Sidious, we cannot simply arrest him. He controls the Senate, the courts, half the Republic's bureaucracy. We need evidence the Senate cannot ignore, Padme says. All eyes turn to her. Dooku's testimony is powerful, but he's a Sith Lord and a separatist leader. Palpatine's allies will claim he's lying to save himself. We need corroborating evidence, multiple sources, physical proof. The chips are physical proof, Anakin says. If Shakti extracts them and Kaminoan medical records confirm they were ordered by someone using Republic authority, that's not enough, Padme interrupts. It proves a conspiracy. It doesn't prove Palpatine is Sidious. We need to catch him in the act. Catch him using the dark side. Catch him giving separatist orders. Something undeniable. Mace considers. We set a trap. Use Dooku's cooperation. Arrange for Dooku to contact Sidious with a fabricated crisis that requires Sidious to reveal himself. Or, Anakin says quietly, I go to Palpatine directly, alone, and I give him exactly what he wants. Every head in the council chamber turns toward him. Explain, Yoda says. Palpatine has been grooming me since I was 9 years old. He's invested a decade in building trust, in positioning himself as my mentor, in exploiting my fears and attachments. In the timeline I experienced, he used my fear of losing Padme to turn me completely. Anakin glances at Padme, then back to the council. He doesn't know that I know. He doesn't know what happened on Tatooine, what I experienced. As far as he's concerned, I'm still the emotionally vulnerable Padawan he's been manipulating. If I go to him, if I pretend to be struggling with what happened on Geonosis, with the dark side I used in the arena, he'll see an opportunity, he'll accelerate the seduction, and when he does, we record it. Transmit it live to the Senate. Let every senator see the kindly chancellor reveal himself as Darth Sidious. You're proposing to put yourself in a room alone with the most dangerous Sith Lord in a millennium, Mace says flatly, and hope he doesn't kill you before revealing himself. He won't kill me, not immediately. He needs me. In his plan, I'm the weapon he uses to destroy the Jedi. He'll try to turn me first. And when he's certain he has me, when he drops the mask completely, that's when we strike. Obi-Wan shakes his head. Anakin, this is insane. The risk is worth it. Anakin's voice is absolute. Master, I have seen what happens when we're too cautious, when we deliberate too long. Sidious wins. He always wins. Because he's always 3 steps ahead. This time, we use his certainty against him, his arrogance, his absolute belief that he controls me. Yoda closes his eyes, reaches into the Force, sees the nexus point, the moment where multiple futures converge, sees young Skywalker walking into Palpatine's office, sees 1,000 possible outcomes, most of them ending in darkness, but a precious few, ending in light. Do it we shall, Yoda says, but alone you will not be. Master Windu, Master Kenobi, Master Fisto, and myself, positioned outside Palpatine's office, concealed, waiting. The moment Sidious reveals himself, we enter. Together, agreed, Mace says. But Skywalker, if you feel yourself falling, if the dark side takes hold for even a second, you signal us. Immediately. Clear? Clear, Anakin says. The mask. The Republic Executive Building rises from Coruscant's Senate District like a monument to democracy. White stone, sweeping architecture, the physical embodiment of a 1,000-year republic. The Chancellor's suite occupies the building's highest level, panoramic windows overlooking the city planet's endless sprawl. Anakin walks through the corridors toward those windows, toward that office, toward the man who has been manipulating his entire life since Naboo. He has rehearsed this, spent the last 6 hours with Obi-Wan and Mace, planning every word, every gesture, every emotional cue. The goal is simple. Make Palpatine believe he's succeeding. Make him drop the mask. Get him to admit on record transmitted live to a Senate chamber full of witnesses that he is Darth Sidious. Simple. Not easy. Mace Windu, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Kit Fisto, and Yoda are positioned in a secure chamber 3/4 away. A miniature holocam disguised as a Senate insignia pin on Anakin's tunic will transmit everything. The Senate itself is an emergency session, ostensibly to debate the Geonosis aftermath. Bail Organa and Padme have ensured every senator is present. When the transmission begins, they'll all see it. Anakin reaches the outer office. The secretary nods him through. The chancellor is expecting him. The door to Palpatine's private office opens. Sheev Palpatine sits behind his desk, the picture of grandfatherly concern. Red-robed Senate guards flank the door. The office is exactly as it appears in Vader's memories. Elegant, powerful, designed to intimidate while appearing welcoming. "Anakin, my boy." Palpatine's voice carries warmth that Anakin now recognizes as manufactured. "I heard about Geonosis. Quite the victory. You must be exhausted." "I am," Anakin says. He lets exhaustion show, not difficult given he hasn't slept in over 30 hours. He slumps into the chair across from Palpatine's desk, runs a hand through his hair. "Chancellor, I need to talk to you about something I can't discuss with the Council." "Of course. You know you can always confide in me. What troubles you? The arena. The things I did." Anakin's voice cracks slightly. "I used the dark side. I dominated those beasts with raw force power. I crushed droids. I felt the anger, the rage, and it felt good, stronger than anything the Jedi teachings ever made me feel." Palpatine's expression doesn't change, but something in his eyes brightens. The Jedi fear the dark side because they don't understand it. They teach that emotion is weakness. But emotion is power, Anakin, the greatest power. The Council looked at me differently after, like they were afraid of me. Obi-Wan too. He won't say it, but I can feel it. Anakin meets Palpatine's gaze. "You're the only one who's never been afraid of what I could become. Because I see your potential," Palpatine says, his voice dropping to the intimate tone Vader remembers too well. "The Jedi want to limit you, to keep you small and controlled. But you are meant for greatness, Anakin, greatness they cannot comprehend. My mother," Anakin's voice is raw, "on Tatooine, I found her. She was dying. The Tuskens tortured her for a month. I heard. I'm so sorry. I killed them." Anakin looks at his hands. "All of them, not just the warriors. I walked through that camp and I killed everyone who stood between me and her. And I didn't hesitate, didn't feel guilt. Not then, not now." Palpatine is very still. "The Tuskens killed your mother. You responded with justice. The Jedi would call it revenge. Murder. They'd say I fell to the dark side. The Jedi are fools." Palpatine's mask is slipping, just slightly. They cling to dogma and call it wisdom. They fear passion and call it discipline. But you understand something they never will. That true power comes from embracing all aspects of the Force. Not just the light. There's something else. Anakin leans forward. "Something I need to ask you about. Something Obi-Wan told me after we captured Dooku." "Yes," Dooku said. "He said the Republic is controlled by a Sith Lord, Darth Sidious. He said this Sith Lord has been orchestrating the war from both sides." Anakin watches Palpatine's face carefully. Is that possible? Could a Sith Lord really hide in plain sight for that long? Palpatine's expression is perfect concern. "Dooku is a liar, Anakin. He would say anything to divide us, to weaken the Republic. You cannot trust the word of a Sith. What if there really is a Sith Lord controlling everything? Someone close to power, someone no one suspects." The silence stretches. Palpatine studies Anakin with an intensity that would make most people uncomfortable. Anakin holds his gaze, lets vulnerability show, lets the desperate need for answers show. "Anakin," Palpatine says slowly, "there are things about the Force that the Jedi will never teach you, powers some consider to be unnatural." There it is, the opening line. The same line that in the original timeline led to the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise. The same seduction speech, starting. "What kind of powers?" Anakin asks. "The power to save people from death, the power to create life. The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities the Jedi consider unnatural. Can you teach me?" Palpatine smiles. It's not a grandfatherly smile anymore. It's something else. "I can teach you everything, but first you must understand what you're asking. The Jedi will never accept you if you pursue this path. They'll cast you out, call you fallen. I don't care about the Jedi. I care about the people I love. My mother almost died. Padme," he lets emotion flood his voice. "I can't lose her. I won't. Senator Amidala." Palpatine's smile widens. "I've known about your feelings for her for quite some time. Your secret is safe with me. If she dies, if I lose her like I almost lost my mother, I don't know what I'll do." "You won't lose her," Palpatine says, and now the warmth in his voice is predatory. "If you have the power to prevent it, the power I can give you, then teach me." Anakin stands. "Please, I'll do whatever it takes." Palpatine rises from his chair. The Senate guards at the door don't react. They're his, have always been his. The Sith have studied the dark side for millennia. They understand what the Jedi fear to acknowledge. That power requires sacrifice. That greatness requires the courage to do what must be done, regardless of sentiment or outdated morality. The Sith, Anakin lets realization dawn on his face. You're talking like you know them, like you've studied. I am the Sith, Anakin. Palpatine's voice drops an octave. The mask is gone completely. I am Darth Sidious. I have been for longer than you've been alive, and I have been preparing you, training you, shaping you to become my apprentice since the moment Qui-Gon Jinn found you on Tatooine. The holocam pin on Anakin's tunic transmits every word. In the Senate chamber, on screens throughout the building, thousands of senators watch Sheev Palpatine's face transform. Watch the kindly chancellor become something else. Watch the yellow Sith eyes blaze through. Bail Organa stands. Seal the building. Transmit this on every channel. The entire Republic needs to see this. The prophecy. Anakin's hand moves to his lightsaber. You're Sidious. You've been manipulating me. The Jedi, the Republic, all of it. Yes, Palpatine doesn't deny it, doesn't retreat. And I would have succeeded if not for whatever happened to you on Tatooine. You're not the boy I've been grooming. Someone else is looking out of those eyes. Someone who knows too much. I know enough. I know about Order 66, the Death Star, the empire you were planning to build. We're planning? Palpatine's smile is cold. You think you've stopped me? You think exposing me to the Senate matters? I have power you cannot imagine. The dark side is stronger than any. The office doors explode inward. Mace Windu enters with his purple blade already ignited. Yoda follows, green blade burning. Kit Fisto and Obi-Wan flank them. 4 Jedi Masters, coordinated, prepared, ready. Darth Sidious, Mace says formally. By the authority of the Jedi Council and the Galactic Senate, you are under arrest. Palpatine's hands come up. Force lightning erupts from his fingers, not aimed at one Jedi, but all of them simultaneously. Massive arcs of blue-white energy that would kill ordinary beings in seconds. Mace's blade intercepts his share. Vapad channels the dark side energy back as kinetic force. Yoda absorbs the lightning and redirects it into the floor. Kit Fisto blocks. Obi-Wan's Ceresu defense holds. And Anakin catches the lightning aimed at him with both hands. The energy flows into his palms, through his body. He is not wearing the suit. There are no cybernetics to short out, just flesh and the Force. The Chosen One's midi-chlorians, over 20,000 per cell, the highest concentration ever recorded, act as a conduit. He redirects the lightning back at Palpatine. The Sith Lord staggers, his own power reflected scorching his robes. He cuts the lightning, reaches for the twin lightsabers concealed in his sleeves. The crimson blades ignite. So be it, Sidious hisses. Jedi. He moves with speed that makes him nearly invisible. The same explosive Sith technique that killed 3 Jedi Masters in 10 seconds in the original timeline. He targets Mace first, recognizes Vapad as the greatest threat. Mace meets him blade to blade. Purple against red, Vapad channeling Sidious's aggression into a superconducting loop of energy. But Mace is not alone this time. Kit Fisto engages Sidious's offhand blade. Yoda leaps onto Palpatine's desk and attacks from above with Ataru's acrobatic precision. Obi-Wan holds the defensive perimeter, ensuring Sidious cannot escape. 4 Jedi Masters against Darth Sidious. The office becomes a war zone. The panoramic windows shatter. The desk disintegrates. The walls crack. Sidious is magnificent in his fury. 2 decades of hidden power unleashed. His blades blur. His force abilities manifest as raw kinetic energy that warps the air. But he's outnumbered. Every time he focuses on one opponent, another strikes. Anakin doesn't join the duel. Not yet. He watches, waits, extends his awareness through the Force, and feels for the critical moment, the moment where the fight tips. Sidious feels it too. He's losing. Not quickly. He's too skilled, too powerful, too experienced for quick defeat. But the mathematics are against him. 4 Masters coordinated, prepared, angry. He changes tactics. Leaps backward, disengages from the melee, and raises both hands. The Force lightning that erupts is not a targeted attack. It's a storm, a sphere of electrical energy that fills the entire office, arcing between every metal surface, turning the room into a cage of pure dark side power. Mace's Vapad absorbs what it can. Yoda redirects. Kit Fisto and Obi-Wan are driven back, their blades working desperately to deflect energy coming from every direction. And Anakin steps into the storm. The lightning hits him from all sides. Pain explodes through every nerve. The power is staggering, enough to kill a dozen beings. But Anakin is not a dozen beings. He is the Chosen One prophesied to bring balance to the Force, operating at something approaching his full potential for the first time in either of his lives. He doesn't block the lightning. He absorbs it, all of it. becomes a conduit for the massive dark side energy Sidious is pouring into the room. And then he speaks, not to Palpatine, to the Force itself. The same words he used against Sidious in the timeline he experienced, standing on the second Death Star with his son, throwing the Emperor down a reactor shaft. I am the Chosen One, born to destroy the Sith. Not in 20 years, not in a mask, not through my son's intervention. Now, here, by my own choice. The Force answers. Power floods through him. Not dark, not light, but something primal. The energy that existed before Jedi and Sith carved the Force into factions. The raw, terrible, beautiful power of balance itself. The lightning flowing into Anakin reverses course. Not gradually, instantly. The massive energy Sidious has been channeling turns against him, flowing back through Anakin as a focused beam of pure Force power. Sidious's eyes widen. He tries to cut the lightning. Can't. The power is no longer his. It belongs to the Force, and the Force, through its Chosen One, is bringing balance. The beam of reflected energy hits Sidious in the chest and drives him backward, through the shattered windows, into Coruscant's afternoon sky. He falls, 1,000 meters, toward the Senate District's lower levels. Anakin drops to one knee, gasping. The power recedes. His hands are burned, red, blistered, painful but healing. The Force flows through him gently now, repairing damage, soothing trauma. Mace Windu reaches the shattered window, looks down. Is he? Dead, Yoda confirms. His eyes are closed, feeling through the Force. The dark side presence that clouded the galaxy for decades, gone it is. Feel it, can you? The shroud lifting. They can, all of them. The pressure that has been building in the Force for years, the dark side cloud that made prophecy difficult, that obscured danger, that made the Jedi less effective, dissipates like fog under sunlight. Obi-Wan helps Anakin to his feet. Are you all right? I will be. Anakin's voice is hoarse. It's over. Sidious is dead. The Sith are destroyed. The prophecy, Mace says quietly, staring at Anakin. You brought balance, not through falling and being redeemed, through preventing the fall entirely. Through choice, Anakin corrects. I saw what I could become, and I chose differently. 1 year later, the life after. Naboo, the lake country. Varakino Villa, where water reflects sky and mountains rise in the distance, and the air smells of muja fruit and peace. Shmi Skywalker Lars sits on the terrace in a wicker chair watching the lake. Her recovery took months. Bacta immersion, physical therapy, psychological counseling to process a month of torture. She carries scars, some visible on her skin, some deeper in places Bacta can't reach. But she is alive. She is free, and she is surrounded by family. Klieg Lars sits beside her, his hover chair positioned so he can hold her hand. Owen and Beru visited last month, bringing news from the moisture farm. They're expanding operations. The Republic's post-war economic recovery has created demand for water even on Tatooine. Inside the villa, Padme Amidala Skywalker, the senator who married a former Jedi in a ceremony that was decidedly not secret, attended by half the Senate and most of the Jedi Council, is preparing lunch. She resigned from the Senate 6 months ago to focus on a new role, founding director of the Galactic Refugee Relief Initiative, helping beings displaced by the brief conflict on Geonosis and the Separatist dissolution. R2-D2 and C-3PO help in the kitchen. The protocol droid fusses about proper table settings while the astromech beeps suggestions about optimal serving temperature for Nuna stew. Anakin Skywalker, no longer a Jedi Knight, having left the Order by choice 3 months after Geonosis, stands at the water's edge, watching two small figures play in the shallow waves, Luke and Leia Skywalker. 4 years old, twins who have never known war, never known slavery, never known their father as anything other than the man who reads them stories and teaches them to sense the Force as naturally as breathing. Luke has his mother's dark hair and his father's intensity. He's already showing Force sensitivity, moving small objects when he concentrates, sensing emotions in people around him. Leia has her father's fearlessness and her mother's sharp political instinct. Yesterday, she negotiated a treaty between her stuffed toys that would make a career diplomat proud. They chase each other through the water, laughing with the unself-conscious joy of children who have never had to be afraid. Shmi calls from the terrace, "Ani, tell the children lunch is ready." Anakin smiles, calls out, "Luke, Leia, come eat." They run to him. Wet, sandy, perfect. He scoops them both up, one in each arm, and carries them toward the villa. They squeal with delight. As he walks, he thinks about the timeline he prevented. The younglings in the temple who are alive because he didn't slaughter them. The Jedi spread across the galaxy who survived because Order 66 was never executed. Padme, radiant and alive, who never felt his hand close around her throat. His children, raised together instead of separated and hidden. The galaxy is not perfect. The Separatist dissolution created political complications that will take years to fully resolve. The clone army, all chips removed, all troopers granted citizenship, is integrating into Republic society with varying degrees of success. The Jedi Order is reforming, questioning old dogmas, trying to find balance between tradition and evolution. But the Sith are gone. Palpatine is dead. The empire that would have ruled for decades never rose. Billions of beings who would have suffered are free. Worth it, Anakin thinks. Every nightmare, every memory of what he became, every moment of carrying the knowledge of Darth Vader, all of it worth preventing. He sets the twins down at the table. Padme brings food. Shmi and Klieg join them. They eat together, 3 generations bound not by destiny or prophecy or manipulation, but by simple love. After lunch, Anakin stands on the terrace alone for a moment, looking at the lake. The Force moves through him, quiet and warm, and for the first time in either of his lives, it feels like balance. He is not Darth Vader. He will never be Darth Vader. The mechanical breathing, the mask, the black suit, the red blade, the Emperor's weapon, all of it belongs to a timeline that no longer exists. He is Anakin Skywalker, husband, father, son. Free. The twin sons of Tatooine are 40,000 light years away, but if he closes his eyes, he can still feel their heat on his face. The memory of slavery, the memory of leaving his mother, the memory of a boy who didn't know what he would become, but he doesn't close his eyes. He opens them. He watches his children play. He feels his mother's presence behind him, alive and whole. He hears his wife's laugh, and he smiles. The Chosen One brought balance, not through destruction and redemption, through prevention, through choice, through refusing to become the monster he saw in the mirror. The Force is balanced. The Sith are destroyed. The galaxy is free. And Anakin Skywalker, at last, is at peace. Let us know what you'd like to see next. The end.